Welcome to Reclaiming Home, a podcast focused on delivering thoughtful conversation and tangible actions to make housing justice a reality in our communities. I'm your host, Asale Sol Young, Executive Director of Urban Homeworks, an educator, activist, and proud Turtle Papa. I'm a Black Legacy native of Evanston, Illinois, and a proud descendant of Haitians and rural Black and Indigenous North Carolinians. Join me as we take time each month to dive into all things housing, including potential policies, community dreams, persistent systemic barriers. We'll also celebrate success and everything in between. We are so glad you're here. Welcome to a special end-of-year episode of Reclaiming Home, Housing Justice with Urban Homeworks. Today, here our amazing staff members reflect on their hard work in 2023. I'm proud, so proud to work with this team, and even more proud of everything we have accomplished this year. If you want to support our work in 2024, please make a donation at www.urbanhomeworks.org/donate. You know the drill. We cannot get this work done without you. So if you value our work in the community, if you value this podcast, please consider making a donation. And with that, let's get into it.
Hi, my name is Lydia Detweiler. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the executive assistant and office coordinator at Urban Homeworks.
All right, I'm Ann Ketz. I am the real estate director.
Hello, I'm Ellen DeYoung. I am the institutional relations manager at Urban Homeworks.
Hi, I'm Emily Lassiter, and I am the senior development officer at Urban Homeworks on the marketing and development team.
Hi, my name is Yuri Harper. I am Urban Homeworks resident organizer.
Hello, I'm Paul Vleen, he, him. I am the development director for Urban Homeworks, getting to work in marketing, communications, and fundraising.
Okay, yeah, hello, my name is Azad Lassiter. I work on the real estate development team as a project manager.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tammy, and I am the equity and engagement director here at Urban Homeworks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Herrick. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the communications manager here at Urban Homeworks.
What accomplishment from 2023 are you most proud of?
This is a really hard question for me to answer because there are a lot of accomplishments that I could point to in 2023, and I'm sure you'll hear from other folks. But I would say personally, I'm most proud of the relentlessness with which my colleagues have pursued this work. I say this to a lot of folks, but I've felt immense gratitude to know, learn from, and work alongside our staff.
The accomplishment that I'm most proud of from 2023 is definitely closing financing and starting construction on the 5 passive single-family homes that we are working on. They were a long road to get started. We started initially working on them in 2020, so it's a really big accomplishment to get them closed and start working on them. Hopefully they'll be for sale next year. But also these are our first passive houses. They're the first super energy efficient homes we've done. We've been gradually getting there, and this is our first time jumping into that space. So we're really excited. We're excited just at all that we've learned, but also to be selling these next year to new families. In close second for most proud of is definitely the triplex cooperative ownership project we're working on with Blue, which is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. And that is not closed yet, but it will be before the end of the year. So it still counts as most proud of for 2023. And that space, we've also learned a ton, and we're really excited to continue working on cooperative as an ownership option.
What accomplishment from 2023 am I most proud of? First, some context. I started at Urban Homeworks in late 2022. So I feel like I really spent like the first half of 2023 kind of figuring out my role in the organization, my job duties, basically the landscape of institutional relations as it related to Urban Homeworks. So now, about a year later, I can honestly say that I'm proud of all that I have accomplished in the past year, calendar year, also just from the year that I started. I was really able to take ownership over grant writing and processes. And I also helped secure the organization some sizable gifts and also pursuing some smaller opportunities that the team might not have had the capacity to do before I was on board.
The accomplishment from 2023 that I'm most proud of is that we hosted a lot of smaller events to connect with different groups in our community and to bring those who financially invest in our work a little bit closer to the real stories that we create together. So for example, you might have heard this story last year of how we got a house donated to us at the very end of 2021. And then all throughout 2022, we were remodeling this old house up on Vincent Avenue North. And then when we completed that earlier this year in 2023, we held an open house at that space so that supporters and neighbors and community could come through and see the work that Urban Homeworks was doing and kind of envision the house that a family would receive. And then shortly after that open house, we sold it and got to actually share that story of the homeowner, Amber, who bought that house. She was a first-time buyer, and she shared her story at Perpetuate the Hope in October. And so, yeah, that was just really a full circle moment there that demonstrated why we all show up for this work together.
So 2023, I celebrated my year anniversary as an Urban Homeworks staff. Woo! That is an accomplishment for me because I've been around for a while. But now I feel like I found my home and my family here at Urban Homeworks. Just a culture that feels really natural.
I would say that one of the accomplishments, actually, there's just so many accomplishments in 2023 that I'm proud of, that I've seen our teams work on. Certainly one of the exciting for our team in marketing development is updating our mission, vision, and values, really to hone in on what it is that we're trying to accomplish as an organization, while also broadening the table of who is a part of this community helping us accomplish that work. And so having a mission that is specifically focused in housing justice and leading the fight for housing justice is exciting. And then also to have it be a mission and vision that residents and homeowners and congregations and public officials and all people can rally around, recognizing that housing justice is something that we can all work toward for all of our neighbors, is a pretty exciting step for the organization in clarifying our work. And then certainly, we started a down payment assistance program called Homeownership Access Fund, which is super exciting. We've already given out 2 of those grants to new BIPOC homeowners here in Northside. And our goal is to continue to grow that fund so that we are giving away 20 of those grants. So 20 grants at $20,000 a piece is going to do some incredible work here on the north side and throughout Minneapolis, and just really excited to see that flourish and grow. And then, of course, we secured $5 million from the state legislature, not for Urban Homeworks, but to be used through Urban Homeworks to accomplish our mission and vision of homeownership, affordable homeownership opportunities here on the north side. And all of those have incredible implications for what we do in 2024 and beyond. One of the things that are important to think about with that $5 million for Northside deeply affordable housing is that is money that is going toward the bricks and mortar of the homes that we're building. It does not go toward staffing. It does not go toward all of the systems and processes that Urban Homeworks needs to put together in order to make the very most of that $5 million. So there's a lot of work that we have to do, that our donors have to step up and really make the most of that money so that Urban Homeworks can implement it as best as possible for the benefit of our neighbors. And it's in a really exciting time of growth for the organization, for our donor community, to be able to respond to this really incredible opportunity to invest in Northside, to invest in homeownership, to invest in housing justice for our neighbors.
Yeah, what am I most proud of in 2023? Urban Homeworks will start 8 units of affordable housing. 5 of those are currently under construction and are all going to be passive houses, super high energy efficiency.
The accomplishment I'm most proud of in 2023 would have to be the direct appropriation. I'm just so proud of the work we put in, being that it was our first year doing direct legislation and we came out with $5 million, was something I was so proud to have worked on and be a part of. It was so sweet getting the call. I was actually on PTO that day, and you never want to call from work when you're on PTO, but I was stoked getting a call from Asali Soul saying we've been given the direct appropriation. So that's something that I am most proud of in 2023.
The accomplishment from 2023 that I am the most proud of is our Housing is a Human Right line of merch. We have t-shirts, we have stickers, and we have pins. And all 3 of those things I hand drew. The second accomplishment I'm the most proud of from 2023 is this podcast.
I am proud of so many things from this past year. I am obviously proud of our first ever direct appropriation in our 28-year history. You know, this was the first time we ever asked for this kind of support from the government, and to be so well received, you know, it took a lot of hard work and diligence and consistency. And it's just great to have a victory after our first go. Did not have to be that way. So we're very aware of that. I'm also really proud of our hustle in community, our work with our North Side community as well as our South Side community. Both neighborhoods experienced this year different kinds of issues specifically around addiction, houselessness, and then of course, gun violence continues to be something that our city is working through reconciling. And I just am really grateful and proud of how we responded to reclaiming space with our community, again, both in North Minneapolis, particularly on 21st Avenue, as well as in South Minneapolis, around like Franklin and Chicago, bringing communities together to say how they desire to reclaim their spaces. So not simply to complain or regurgitate or reflect the issues going on that we're all very much aware of, but actually to say, this is how I can contribute to the improvement of my community. And this is what the work that I'm willing to put in for that. And I think that empowering people, or rather giving people the platform to empower themselves, that is what I'm most proud of in 2023. I'm always proud of my team. I think the team did incredible work in their respective spaces. Like, this was the first year that Urban Homeworks was spotlighted in so many different publications and interviews and sat on so many committees and things like that. Like, folks are really coming to the organization for our perspective. That takes a lot of work that people don't see from our marketing and development team. And so major shout out to those folks. Also, you know, our real estate development team broke ground on 5 passive homes this year in North Minneapolis. So these are the first homes in North Minneapolis that are built for maximum efficiency. There are very complicated ways that I could use to explain that, but the important thing for you as the audience to know is that North Minneapolis, predominantly Black, Brown, Indigenous community, most incomes average at 40% of the city's area median income range. And we broke ground on the first ever homes that will not only be affordable to people, the purchase price will not only be affordable to the community members, but their utilities will essentially cost them nothing. So passing on maximum savings to a low-income community, and hopefully we will be able to continue to do that in the future. And shout out to the city of Minneapolis for having that clarity, because they really are a major partner in our ability to do that work. And so shout out to the city for their clarity on delivering like environmental support as well as social support in housing justice to North Minneapolis. I know that my colleagues will mention so many other things, so I'm going to stop there with those three big ones. What was the most challenging part of 2023? Be honest. And how will it shape 2024 for you?
The most challenging part of 2023, and I anticipate will be challenging in 2024, is the size of an urgency around housing injustice. So Urban Homeworks is staffed with less than 15 people, and we do the amount of work of a much larger organization, which means that all of us struggle to prioritize rest. There have been many conversations in 2023 around capacity and personal organizational health, which I really appreciate, and I do think will help us move into a more balanced 2024.
The most challenging part of 2023 in the real estate space was definitely the intense community safety and addiction issues that we saw happening in and around our communities and impacting specifically a few of our properties really hard. It was unexpected how sort of intense it was this year, but it's definitely shaping 2024 and how we're looking at upgraded security measures like lighting and cameras and other ways to keep our communities and housing safe for folks that are being impacted in this around their housing.
So related to what I'm most proud of, I would basically say the same thing about what was most challenging in 2023. There was a lot to figure out about my role at Urban Homeworks. And there are so many fast moving developments in the past year, like the direct appropriation from the legislature or the down payment assistance fund, just so many moving parts. And it was really difficult for me as a newbie to keep up with everything. That's honestly an amazing problem to have and really speaks to the amazing work of all of my coworkers in the various departments who are constantly pivoting to meet the needs of the community. But looking ahead to 2024, I think this challenge really taught me about how to collaborate with my coworkers in an effective way, how to ask the right kinds of questions and at the right moments. And also that I really need to pay attention to every conversation that's happening around me, because every little update or tidbit that's shared with me can often be weaved into a grant proposal or into a story that can be shared with an institution, a contact, anyone who is kind of in my portfolio.
The most challenging part of 2023, I think our work is extremely demanding due to the overwhelming need. And that is coupled with our limitations around what we can accomplish with our small staff and the resources we have. And it's always tough when you see all the ways that we could solve something together. But transformative change is slow and persistent. And so it's really easy to feel impatient in our work. I think that will shape 2024 in that we know we've seen the progress. We get to witness it through stories like Amber's that we share. And those stories let us know that we're doing the right thing. We need to keep at it and persist in our work and tackle those big system issues while we're also meeting that immediate need, and that there's a lot of value in what we do.
So similarly to how I answered my first question, I think that even though it's felt natural being a part of Urban Homeworks, there are definitely still some new elements that I'm getting used to. So I think finding a flow for myself and also finding a flow of what works best for our residents, I would say is probably the biggest challenge of this year, but will definitely shape 2024 for me because I've learned a lot in this year and look forward to learning more. So I feel like it will only get better as time goes on.
One of the most challenging parts of 2023, particularly in the world of fundraising and development, and we're hearing this from nonprofits across the region, is just an understanding that the economy seems to be doing really well and jobs are doing really well, and inflation is finally starting to go down. And yet there really is a lot of nervousness across our donor base and just across the public square about where is the economy going. And so people understandably are trying to figure out how to use their resources as wisely as possible, as they always should be doing. But that also is meaning that they are stepping back from really making bold gifts and investments in this work. And that's challenging when we have such huge disparities, when we have such incredible work that needs to get done, that's rooted in decades, if not generations of divestment from our neighbors, continually encouraging individuals to see the opportunities, the wealth, the potential for change from their gifts of all sizes. Has continued to be a challenge in 2023. It likely isn't going to go away, but it is part of the work of really being able to connect people's values to what Urban Homeworks is doing, to see if we are aligned in our goals and in our vision, and if so, to really be bold and to recognize that that this is a pretty incredible moment, and we can really make the most of it by investing our time, our financial resources, our voice to the legislative process. Now's the time to do it.
What was the most challenging part of 2023? How will it shape 2024 for you? Yeah, the most challenging part of 2023 was maybe starting those passive houses. The pandemic really just slowed things down, and funding cycles are really long. It's crazy to think that something in 2020 could affect something in 2023, but yeah, for the last few years, we've just had to work really hard to push projects through funding and go out and get more funding. And so, yeah, really what was most challenging part of 2023 is also 2022 and 2021 is the dramatic increase in prices in housing, and our reaction and trying to solve those problems. How will it shape 2024 for you? We have a lot of projects to build now. We will have under construction at least 9 units of affordable housing, and hopefully we'll be starting a few more. So that's a lot to have in construction in 1 year, especially compared to the past, my past 2 or 3 years at Urban Homeworks, where it was 2 or 3 houses under construction.
The most challenging part of 2023 would have to be the fact that myself and my team was so new. I came on in October of 22, and so did my colleague Yuri, our resident organizer. So it was a lot of learning while we were going, with our pod meetings, our housing justice forums, our BIPOC think tanks. We were creating so many new initiatives while we were doing them. So you really had to learn quickly, pivot quickly. And that was a lot, but we did it. And I'm so proud of my team for that. And I think it will only make 2024 better because we're no longer creating the wheel here. We have a foundation that we can build off of that will only make the events, interactions, initiatives more impactful, just better planned out. So I'm really excited for what we have in store for 2024.
The most challenging part of 2023 for me is honestly what I think will continue to be the most challenging. And it's just like a major part of my role that I think I get used to. So I run all of our social media. I'm the producer and editor for this podcast. I've never actually sat here and been the one speaking into the microphone. I'm normally right off screen over there taking notes and producing. And, you know, I write our stuff, our designer stuff, and all of that stuff is very public facing, but I'm not public facing. And I'll be honest, I'm very fine with that. I think that's okay. But because of that, I don't always see how people receive my work. So like, I know that people like this post on Instagram, or I can see what they comment, but most often I'm speaking out or speaking at, and I don't always hear a response in the things that I'm saying. I'm creating a document and you're going to read it, but you're likely going to talk to someone else on the team about a donation you'd like to make because you read that, or housing you'd like to try because you read that. You're not necessarily speaking to me. So I think that is one of the challenging parts of my work, is kind of like the one-way communication that it consists of. But I don't know that it's an impossible challenge, if that makes sense. I think like with the accomplishment I shared in the first question, like I find things that people do respond to, and I really relish in the celebrations of those moments.
You know, 2023 was challenging because as you get opportunity, you're also being challenged, of course, to step up to those opportunities. And being in this sort of transitional space where we came into a new mission and vision that we'd been working toward for the last couple of years. We're still in transition as an organization. And I think part of the challenge for us collectively as staff is just being okay with that, kind of settling into the fact that we are trying something new in the field. We're trying something new in the world of nonprofits. And there are inevitable bumps along the road, things that don't feel great, things that maybe we even get wrong, that we've got to be like, okay, back to the drawing board, start over. So I think that there's just like a natural challenge there. And then learning when and how to say no. You know, it's really powerful to be invited so often to be a part of, to lend expertise. And we want to show up for our community with our community, but we are still a very small staff. And so part of the challenge of 2023 was really witnessing the impact of not having clarity on the no as an organization. And I think as an executive director, like that's a pretty vulnerable reflection that I'm sharing with you, audience. So hopefully you will take that as a recognition that I'm open about my learning. And that's part of the power of the work that we do as well. Shaping 2024, we're going into 2024 with a lot more clarity on where we're at. Sometimes you don't see yourself so clearly because it's new. Now we know, we understand the capacity that we have. We understand the asks and how the asks are going to often be greater than our capacity because people think that we're a much larger organization than we actually are. And it just really forces us to focus, I think, in really powerful, beautiful ways. We continue to work on our strategic plan in this year with our board and refining with our staff. And so really excited about, again, having such clarity around our direction and really having this framed focus given the learnings of 2023. So it's going to be another really exciting year. We're going to continue to grow and learn as quickly as we can, but also giving ourselves grace and compassion in the process. And that's always really exciting. What is your favorite 2023 Urban Homeworks memory?
Again, it's difficult for me to choose just a couple, but I would have to say I've really loved the opportunities to collectively celebrate our direct appropriation from the state of Minnesota, as well as the change in our mission and vision, both of which were really significant moments for the organization and the community at large. And then two, really any opportunity we had as a staff to just be silly and goofy and light together, such as at our fall retreat this past October.
My favorite memory from Urban Homeworks in 2023 was definitely the direct appropriation. The day that we found out, more than half of the staff happened to be in the office, and we were able to celebrate together. And I personally was just in shock, and but able to like soak up the moment with everybody. That was just like such a big deal for us, for housing, for the work that we're doing, and to be able to know that we've got funding moving ahead in the next several years for deeply affordable ownership projects. It was definitely the best moment.
So my favorite Urban Homeworks memory in 2023 is probably the first BIPOC think tank. So for some context, this summer Urban Homeworks hosted 3 different events called BIPOC think tanks for BIPOC leaders within our community. It kind of combined a day of volunteering with also discussions about what housing justice could look like for folks within these different organizations and basically for the Twin Cities as a whole. I was not at all part of the planning. I was only there to support the day of, but it was put together by our amazing equity and engagement team. And I could just tell walking in right away that there was so much intention and care, and all of the participants could feel that as well. Even when they were, painting out in the hot sun or learning how to use power tools, there was such a communal, caring feeling between everyone, staff and leaders, BIPOC leaders alike. And that was really infused into the conversations about housing justice later in the day.
My favorite Urban Homeworks memory in 2023 was our staff retreat at Charleston Meadows in October. It was really fun to be silly and get to know staff members on a personal basis. And also we worked really hard on casting visions together and having really deep conversations around how we do this work together. And it was just a really meaningful time as a staff.
Ooh, 2 things come to mind as my favorite 2023 memory. One is us celebrating as a staff, the appropriation that we were granted. That was a really exciting and memorable time for me. The other one I would say probably our fall retreat was quite memorable for me. A new, beautiful place, just getting to know and bonding with my coworkers in a different way is probably something that I'll never forget.
Some of the favorite memories that I have for Urban Homeworks as I look back on this past year actually rest in the different events and engagement activities that we've had this year. It probably is not a surprise. I love getting together with folks. It's one of my favorite parts of this job, and to be able to see people come together for the groundbreaking that we did on our passive certified home, our first passive certified out of 5. Even though it was just blistering hot, people came out and just celebrated this fantastic investment, not just in affordable home ownership, but in incredible efficiency that's going to save neighbors, the owners of those homes, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every year. Then there was the open house that we did. We're of course in this beautiful new building for 927, having the open house for 927 West Broadway, seeing donors and community partners and institutional partners come here and celebrate this beautiful investment along Broadway and how we are living out this mission and vision right here on the north side was just a joy. And then we did some really unique events this past year. And so the Urban Homeworks Trivia Night was certainly a fun time. It was laid back. It was a different vibe of what we've done in the past. And it was really enjoyable. And people loved being able to come together in community to test our knowledge of all things trivia, but also really recognize that we need to be wise and aware of the really important facts of the housing crisis. And we can do that in ways that are meaningful and fun, and really move us as a community to better understand the issues.
Favorite UHW memory in 2023? Probably the sale of 3335 Vincent to Amber Buck. That was one of my first projects from start to finish. And yeah, just some of her comments about having her children in the space were really meaningful. And that was, yeah, just a really exciting sale, really exciting project. And yeah, one of the quotes that stands out is, the floors aren't squeaky enough. She was disappointed the floors weren't squeaky enough. And that's something that you don't hear a lot of. People usually complain about the squeaky floors. And so that kind of told me two things. The quality of the remodel. In a 100-year-old house, you would really expect to have a lot of squeaky floors. So the expectations were that there were going to be a lot of squeaky floors, and there weren't. So that just goes to the quality of the general contractor that we had chosen and the subcontractors and the care that they had done on the project. Second, just the idea of building memories in a house and making the house your own. And like in my house, I know that squeak on the floor and I try to move around it so I don't wake anyone up in the middle of the night. But yeah, so it was just kind of fun to think about the memories that will be made in that house. And that is a lot of what our work is.
My favorite UHW memory in 2023 is easily our staff pickleball tournament. It was so much fun. My favorite part was honestly just creating the team names. Favorite part, truthfully. But that was just a fun time of laughter, competitive for some of our competitive folks. Good fun. So I enjoyed that a lot with my team. Who won? Who won? Oh, who won? Snap, Crackle, Pop. And that was Ellen, Emily, and Paul.
My favorite memory from 2023, and I know it's been said already because I've done all the interviews, is the staff retreat. It was something that I was really anxious about. Like, you're spending 3 days, like decently far out of town with these people that you are working with all the time, but like you're working with 9 to 5, and then you go home and you get to put on pajamas and be whatever. You get to be the non-working version of yourself. So to go into a space where you're sharing both the working version of yourself and the non-working of your version of yourself is like really vulnerable. And so I didn't know how I was going to go. Like, I didn't know. And so for all of us to be there and not hate each other after spending 72 hours straight is crazy. Really, at the end of this retreat, I felt so refreshed from the conversations that we had about our work, the conversations that we had about each other, like the rumbles that we had to clear up things that needed to be cleared up, to talk about things that needed to be discussed. I just felt coming back to work like so trusting in everyone as my coworker, trusting in everyone as my teammate, and then just like trusting in everyone on a level as like a friend, as someone that you had spent time with, gotten to know, watched a bad movie with, you know?
I think for me, just what comes to mind initially is the news that we received our direct appropriation. That process is, it is a roller coaster. One of the wooden roller coasters, old school, that whips you around really fast, and you're kind of in that cart and you're like, is the cart gonna break? Or is the track going to break? Because I'm hearing everything shake around. And then you're also kind of screaming because the hills are really quick and unexpected. That's the kind of roller coaster the legislative process was for us. We had no indication one way or the other if we were going to get that direct appropriation. More often thought for certain we did not get it. So when that news broke and we were able to celebrate, it was a pretty sweet moment with the folks in the office that day, just to recognize each other and to recognize like the years that it took to get here. The legislative session lasts a matter of months, but we knew this was years in the making. What surprised you about 2023, if anything?
So when 2023 started, we had no idea that we would be requesting a direct appropriation from the state of Minnesota for affordable housing development. I previously worked for the state, so it was kind of a fun surprise to spend a significant amount of the spring of 2023 in downtown St. Paul, and especially surprising, pleasantly so, to have experienced success during our first legislative session as an organization.
The moment that surprised me the most in 2023 was also the direct appropriation. I knew that things were moving along well, but I think I convinced myself that we weren't going to get it, which was like a way to not get too excited and start planning towards something that might not happen. But it happened. It's here. Our team, our executive director, Sally Soul, and EE director, Tammy, did an amazing job at the Capitol. And again, we've got money to start building deeply affordable homeownership opportunities over the next several years, which the real estate team is gonna start on this year, and we're super excited.
I think the legislative session probably surprised basically everyone this year. We started the year with basically no intention of crafting our own bill or being nearly as involved as we were. And now we've gotten $5 million from the state to build more affordable homes. And that is just mind-boggling. A year ago, I think if you had asked any of us if that was even a possibility, we would have said no. And that also got us so much more publicity than we expected a year ago, more of a public image. And it really feels like Urban Homeworks is building some exciting momentum for growth in the year to come and for many years into the future.
Urban Homeworks has always accomplished a lot as a really small organization, and each year we seem to outdo ourselves. I would say this year we did a really exceptional job of celebrating all of our victories, big and small, but it does really feel like a significant year in that this is the first time that we've really tackled policy work and saw incredible engagement from legislators and from the housing surplus and the direct appropriation that we received. There was just a lot that Urban Homeworks really felt like Urban Homeworks was really noticed. And we're such a small organization, and there's a lot of great organizations doing housing work, but it feels like people really saw us for who we are and what we're trying to do and the way that we're trying to do it. And that felt very significant this year.
I don't know if this exactly should be a surprise, but maybe a reminder for me is that even though I've been around in the community for a while, I think you feel like you know certain things, but I think that this year has served as a reminder that as many things as you know, you're still learning. So the growth I've experienced this year has been an awesome reminder that you don't know everything. And if you listen and open your mind, you'll continue to learn.
In thinking about what most surprised me in 2023, I think one of the things that has come to my mind is that we often talk at Urban Homeworks about systems change and working with policy in order to create a more just community, to advance housing justice. And one of the ways that we have done that is we recognize that it's not only done through voting, it's not only done through talking at the legislature. There is work to be done to change the narrative of what housing is in our community. And so we've had this wonderful campaign that we've included on shirts and stickers and pins called Housing is a Human Right, just simply naming housing is a human right, as we seek to change the narrative of what our requirements are as a community, what our obligations are to our neighbors in the world of housing. And I've been most surprised at how many people really align with that message and really get excited by that message. People that I just never would have expected, having friends and family say, can I have one of those shirts? I'm like super excited about sharing that shirt, seeing elected officials promote that message, and just recognize again that it's not just about speaking at the legislature, but it's also about winning over the hearts and minds of individuals, recognizing their role and responsibility in this mission. And that's just been a really fun and exciting and surprising development this past year.
What surprised you about 2023? I mean, the direct appropriations, that was a huge, the organization had never done anything like that. So even taking something like that on was awesome. And then even better, getting the award was really cool. So even, I think what surprised me is that that's some of the work that Urban Homeworks is taking on now in policy, and just the spaces that we're in were really exciting spaces to be in. But then, it's great when you get the great news that the money comes in and now you can go and do more work and make more homes affordable.
What surprised me in 2023? My job. I think it really surprised me to find so much joy in the work I do, find so much joy in the people I work with, and also feel like I have good work-life balance, feel like the work isn't expected to come at the expense of me. Like most people feel some type of way about hybrid setups, but I love coming into the office on Tuesdays with my team. Going on a retreat with them for 3 days, you think that would be a lot, but I love spending time with my team. I love the work we do. It's so great that I get to do something I'm so passionate about in a way that doesn't burn me out. So I would say that was a beautiful surprise, a blessing.
Surprises about 2023. I think there's always lots of surprises in the work of housing justice, especially as a real estate developer and a property manager. You're always being thrown something new because you're very much dealing with the human condition. And you're dealing with humanity, and you're trying to fight systems of oppression and injustice. So there's always a ton of surprises in that work. But I think that what was most surprising to me, simply because you never anticipate this, but just how much learning the year blessed me with personally. I would say, I think for the organization, but for myself as a leader, as the executive director, I've been pleasantly surprised with the learning opportunities that I've had. I learned so much from my team. They're forever teaching me things about perspectives and the world, and from their expertise. Yeah, and so I'm just, as we sit in this end of the year, I'm like, I have learned so much. And that is another thing I'm excited to put on the ground in 2024 is the growth that came out of this year. What are you most looking forward to in 2024?
I'm a little hesitant to say this, but I am looking forward to being surprised in 2024. So what I found is that this work and organization is incredibly dynamic, which means that change is really the only constant. So I'm looking forward to navigating that and continuing to bring about change in the housing justice world with my team. I want to challenge our audience to stay connected and to pursue new opportunities to participate in this work in 2024. Speaking from personal experience, if you're open to it, this work will inspire and ignite you in the best possible ways.
The things that I'm looking forward to the most in 2024, for me personally, I'm really looking forward to adding to our team and filling some longtime gaps in capacity so I can focus my attention on new developments and expanding our homeownership and rental programs. And for the organization and my team, I'm also really looking forward to the completion of the passive houses. Looking forward to celebrating and teaching community about their energy efficiency benefits and seeing 5 new homeowners and families move into those houses.
In 2024, I'm most looking forward to building on the momentum from this past year. It seems like there's just so much excitement, both internally and externally, from public and private funders about what Urban Homeworks is up to, has been up to. And there's also just a lot more awareness of systemic issues that led to the housing crisis and inequities in our community in the first place. So we have some really big, kind of daunting goals next year. Daunting, but also exciting. So there's a lot to look forward to.
What I'm most looking forward to in 2024 is really seeing relationships among communities strengthened and building new connections with people in our broader community who are really passionate about loving others and helping heal the world through collective action.
I'm most looking forward to connecting with new residents, making connections with new residents, and watching established relationships with our residents flourish. I think that that's something that took place in 2023 for me as well, is just really realizing and being able to pinpoint strong relationships in our residents and seeing those grow throughout the year. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. Also looking forward to like not being the new person. I feel like after you hit a year and like more people start after you, you're no longer new. So just getting into the flow of year 2, taking on new challenges and executing them well is what I'm looking forward most to. What I'm most looking forward to.
So what I'm looking forward to most in 2024 stems from a lot of the work that we're already doing in 2023. We've broken ground on 5 just uber efficient homeownership options here in North Minneapolis. We are breaking ground on 3 cooperative homes. We're going to be selling 8 homes in 2024. That's incredible. To be able to start the homeownership journey for 8 new families is amazing, and is a level of development that Urban Homeworks hasn't seen in many, many years. We're building out our homeownership pathways program, really creating increased opportunities for our renters to become homeowners if they so desire, and building this connection between our dignified rental program and our homeownership program in a way that we just never have done before. Recognizing that takes staff, and that a lot of the work that we're doing in 2024 is an expansion of our work, and that takes staff time. We are growing our staff by 25% in 2024, which is huge growth, but it's not just about having more bodies in the office. Every one of those staff expands our ability to do our mission, to accomplish our vision, to really expand the ways that we are able to lead the fight for housing justice. And I'm really excited to meet those new staff, to partner with them as part of this team, and to really see what Urban Homeworks is able to accomplish in 2024 and beyond.
What are you most looking forward to in 2024? 2024, I am most looking forward to building more houses. And maybe I'm like, that's funny to say, but it's just when you understand the need for housing and how great that is, it's hard to play the numbers games, because it can be a little bit disheartening how slow it takes to build housing. And that's part of the system that we're working in. And that system needs to change. But that's what I'm excited about. The pipeline of projects that we have that include our work from 2020 to 2023 with funding that's finally becoming available. And then the direct appropriations will be starting to do work on those. So and then another thing I really look forward to is just going to those closings. Closing, it's a big day. It's a fun day. That's the day you get the keys. That's the day you move in. And it's just a culmination of the work, especially when projects can last 3 to 4 years from the time you first applied, for the first time you even thought about building a house, to the sale to a homeowner. Like, that could be 4 years. So there's a lot wrapped up in there, in emotionally, and just the amount of labor that it takes to get that done. So I'm looking forward to going to a lot of closings, and then seeing those folks move in 2024 to their home.
Oh gosh, what am I most looking forward to in 2024? That is an impossible answer, because I am looking forward to so many things. Equity engagement has a year under their belt. So year 2 for us, we're about to knock it out of the park. I believe it. I'm excited to advance our down payment assistance initiatives. I'm excited to walk into the legislative session this year, given that it'll be our year 2, kind of understanding the flow of how things work at the Capitol. I'm excited for our BIPOC think tanks again this summer. I'm excited that my birthday is coming up on February 29th, because it comes every 4 years. So I'm excited for that. I'm being honest. And I'm excited to keep doing this work. Like I said, I love my team. I love the work we do. So I'm really excited to see how it all unfolds in 2024. So yeah.
In 2024, I am most looking forward to continuing our work with NACA Creative. As some of you may know, we partnered with NACA Creative to get a new mission, vision, and values throughout 2023. That was a huge project I was working on with other members of the Urban Homeworks team, and we were able to launch that and share that. And I don't know if I can share what we're working on now, but what I will say is that I'm really looking forward to continuing that work in 2024 with NACA. It's been really emotional in different ways to work with an outside consultant, especially around the idea of branding and brand persona, which is something that I'm working on every day, but I don't always get to take the time to really evaluate and look at. And so in this partnership, to kind of share with them, here's how the staff feels about the work that we do, and here's how we talk about it. And then for them to talk to residents and donors and hear how they feel about it, our work, and how they talk about it, and then to take all of those responses and put it together into one sort of language document that aligned with what the staff had said from the start, just was really reaffirming, because I have an idea of myself, of course, but that's because I am myself. That doesn't mean that's how other people see me. So to have ourself, Urban Homeworks, like the community that makes it up, the staff, the residents, the donors, see it so similarly, especially in a time, in a world, and society where nothing is viewed similarly. It was really sweet, and it was really affirming, and it was really powerful to the work that we do, to see that we all appreciate it and understand how important it is and are in a way fulfilled by it. Like, we want to see Urban Homework succeed. We want to see people who buy our home succeed. We want to see our residents succeed from the top to the bottom. And I think that's where. So that's what I'm most looking forward to in 2024, is working more on who are we externally and making sure that aligns with who we are internally.
I'm looking forward to the level up. Like, I'm just gonna name it. There's a level up that happens when you go through really difficult transitions and you have like really intense moments of growth. You have the opportunity to level up, and it's all about how you respond to the learning, right? You could turn away, you could run away, you could get defensive, you could do all these things, or you could accept it as an opportunity to be a better version of yourself. And so I'm really looking forward to personally leveling up as an ED, and I'm also looking forward to the collective leveling up as Urban Homeworks. So really grateful to have you, audience, hang with us in the first year of our podcast. Hoping that you all are feeling as blessed to be on this journey with us as we feel to be on the journey with you. December, end of the year, end of 2023, a lot going on in the world, a lot that we're all carrying in our hearts, and blessed to know that we get to do this work together, because it's work that needs to be done no matter what. So thank you all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in for Reclaiming Home, Housing Justice with Urban Homeworks for today's discussion. If you like this podcast and want to support Urban Homeworks housing work, head over to www.urbanhomeworks.org/donate to make a gift, attend a future event, volunteer with us, or learn more. Until next time, remain connected and informed.